Hello, my name's Surita. I live at Padmaloka. I'm a member of the ordination team and a public and private preceptor. I'm here to talk about posture, particularly posture in meditation, and why that's important. It's important because you'll sit longer and easier and more comfortably if you can get the right posture first. But that's in a way a difficult job because you need to be doing body maintenance. You can't just shift a bad posture into a good one overnight. It may take training, to put it like that, to get a good posture, especially if you've got a bad posture to start with. So it's a good idea to get somebody with a reasonable understanding of how the body works to assess your posture and tell you what you might need to do if there's anything wrong with it. So, for instance, if you sit on the floor cross-legged, yeah, and you tend to sit like this, yeah, then you need to know about that because you won't keep that up for long without going into, and you're damaging yourself in the process, yeah. Nor do you want to be too sort of upright, yeah. You don't want this arching. Really, you want the whole spine completely vertical as you can get it. So if you've got neck and upper back problems and your head sticks out, that's going to put pressure on your knees and your hips. You won't sit comfortable for long. So you've got to be able to get your chin back. You want the crown of the head really over the coccyx. And the coccyx is sort of, it's going under the pelvis, yeah? You need to have that straight line. And there are ways of doing that depending on what your back is like. So if you've got a stiff lower back, or you've got stiff hips or stiff knees, you may need to chock yourself up with more stuff. You may need to chock both knees up, yeah? If you've got very stiff hips, you may need to sit something like that, yeah? The main thing, the thing that really determines it is this straightness of spine. Anything else you do with the body doesn't matter too much, as long as you can get this straight spine. That's the most important bit. What else can I say about that? Yeah, so I mean, if you've got a very bowed back, you're not going to change that overnight, and you may have to work at that quite a bit if you're going to get that to come right, if you want to. But you'll have better meditations if you can get a straight spine. And apparently, I believe, if I remember rightly, when you get into dhyana, your spine straightens up anyway. So if you don't get into dhyana, it may be because your posture is getting in the way. I mean, there are all sorts of things that get in the way, but posture can be one of them. Yeah, so you don't want to be sitting too low. You don't want to be sitting too high. If I sit myself up high, I get into trouble with my own body. So if I sit up too high, you see I'm starting to arch there, and the whole thing becomes a bit unstable. In fact, my lower back gets tight, it puts pressure on my right knee, and I can't feel right. Personally, I like something really hard under my sitting bones, because you can't really feel your coccyx, but you can feel your sitting bones. You know those two little tuberosities underneath your pelvis? You need to be able to sit on those, and then you can balance the crown of the head over the top of them. And if you really pay attention to that, you can monitor that throughout a meditation session. You just keep coming back to the alignment, the ischial tuberosities, the sitting bones, yeah, and get that right. So this is difficult. If you're not young and you haven't done much physical exercise, it's going to be difficult to sit on the floor. Oh, and another thing about sitting like this is that don't always sit with the same leg in front, yeah, because you'll get an unbalanced spine that way. You need to be able to cross over the other way. I would say every other sit, cross the legs the other way, yeah, and adjust accordingly. Because otherwise your spine gets used to a particular sort of slant, and then anything that you do repetitively will fix, and you need to stay as free as you possibly can. The other way to sit on the floor is astride. And again, I like to have something firm. That's why I like these blue blocks. Something firm under my sitting bones. Now I'm not so good at this. I've got tight ankles, so I could probably maintain about 20 to 30 minutes like this. I'd probably need more lift if I was going to carry on for a long time. But again, what's important is this crown of the head over the sitting bones. Yeah, that's what's important. So again, if you start to do this, and you will, yeah, when you start meditating, this is an active pose, and people start meditating, they get into their mind, so to speak. The body falls away, not in a helpful way. You forget your body, and then you start to sort of slump. So it's normal for people to start off, with a perfect posture, and then at the end of the sit, they're like this. But this is not concentration, yeah, and it's not good for your posture either. If you do sit cross-legged as well, you need to be doing some of this anyway, just to keep your legs balanced. Yeah, the quadriceps, the four big muscles, four big muscles in the thighs need to be balanced, and that's not an easy job. So if you're always sitting cross-legged, you're going to change the stresses in the four quadriceps, and again, if you do that habitually, they fix. And you don't want anything fixing. The longer you can keep it all fluid, the better it is. Yeah. So, and again, you can chock up higher if you need to. Find the position that's comfortable. If you've got tight ankles like me, what you can do is you can put a roll under the ankles, the fronts of the ankles, because the ankles tend to take a lot of stress. And if the knees get stressed, then you need to come higher up in the pelvis. Yeah, the higher up you come with support, the easier it is on the knees. So you might need to support both of those to begin with. What about, should we do the chair? Okay, so now I'll say something about sitting in a chair. Sitting in a chair is the word that comes into my mind is abominable. Some movement aficionados say that the chair is death. I know that the Alexander technique people say that your body's fine until you get to 5. You go to school, then you spend 10 years in a chair, and then your body's wrecked. Yeah? By the time you get to 15, your body's in a mess, unless you're doing activity, training, movement of some kind. Yeah. So think carefully about that. I know for some of you it's got to be the chair because you've got leg problems and all the rest of it. But if that's the case, I think in a way you need to be even more careful about sitting in a chair than you do about sitting on the floor, because it's harder for your body to tell you what's going wrong after 10 years of conditioning in the death seat, as it were. Yeah. So here I am sitting in a chair. It's just an ordinary chair. It's the sort we have at Padmaloka. On its own, there are difficulties with it. Yeah. I'm fairly sort of flexible and all the rest of it, but probably I wouldn't be able to sit like this for longer than about 10 minutes, I think, because what tends to happen is that, yeah, I tend to roll my pelvis back, support my back with the back of the chair, which feels good because you take the tension out, but again you're 3 parts to and often in shrine rooms the people who are snoring are the ones in the chairs, I'm afraid. So you've got to do the same things in a chair that I was talking about on the floor. Yeah, you've got to try and get your crown over your coccyx. Now again, that's difficult on a soft seat chair because usually what impacts with the chair is the back of the thighs. And again, some movement people say that continuous use in a soft chair like this turns the backs of your thighs into pulp. Yeah, it messes up your hamstrings like bilio. Yeah, it really does turn them to pulp. They can't work properly in this position. So what we have to do is we have to make amendments to the chair. The other difficult thing with the chair is usually it's got a negative rake. Yeah, which means that if that's the front of the chair and the back of the chair is there, it's like that. And you don't want that because that forces you into this position again. Yeah, what you want is something like that. You want the chair, the seat of the chair coming forwards and down, yeah, if you can. So there are various ways of doing that. You can do it with blocks, which I will demonstrate now. Okay, so now what I've done is I've chopped the back legs of the chair up so that the seat of the chair rolls like this. That's good, it's better for my pelvis, but it's still impacting on my what are they called? Hamstrings, yeah, the tops of my hamstrings. So the other thing you need to do with a chair, and again, we love to lean back here, is come onto the front of the chair. So if I come to the front of this chair, I can feel my sitting bones on the edge. Yeah. When I go back here, I can't feel that so much. What's impacting on the chair then is the backs of my hamstrings. So I come to the front of the chair and a bit of what's called a man spread. Yeah. Again, get the crown of the head over the sitting bones, and I can sit reasonably comfortably. Again, if you've not trained to do this, and by training I mean you need to do a lot of it over a long period of time, and you need to keep your body fluid. This will be exhausting after 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, we don't sit up. Yeah, we sit down and slump. So try and make sitting up a habit. Okay, so now let's look at the side view of this. So this is the side view with the chair. Again, no support under the back legs. I'm sitting back. There's the tendency to hump. You can probably see it more because I'm sideways on, yeah? What tends to happen is the lower back bows and the chin comes out, yeah? Even if I go forwards, it's more difficult, yeah? But this is critical. This pelvic roll is critical. So some of you may find that you may have to train for quite a while just to be able to get that sort of flexibility. But it's not easy, again, because the rake of the chair is going back. So now we'll look at it with the blocks back under. Okay, so now we've got the blocks under the back legs of the chair. So we've turned the rake of the seat in the right direction. I still need to come to the front because of being unable to feel my sitting bones, yeah, which are sort of under there, yeah, not up here, they're there. Two little nodules, ischial tuberosities, I think they're called. The other thing you need to bear in mind, so that's the sideways on again, yeah. This is what comes, yeah, unless you're trained, yeah, unless you do a lot of training. The other thing you need to bear in mind is the length of your legs. So this is reasonably comfortable for me, but I'm quite tall. So the only way to, I need my thighs to be at that angle as well, really, yeah? So what I do then is I get a block, I put it under the sitting bones. I don't have to sit quite so far forwards then because I can just use the edge of the block. But now my knees are lower than my hips, which is another important factor that needs to be borne in mind. And then I can sit. I could probably sit like this quite a long time. And my thighs, the backs of my thighs, my hamstrings are free. Yeah, so the circulation can pass fine. Yeah, yeah, I think that'll do. Upcoming meditation retreats at Padmaloka. Unfortunately, essential meditation, 1st to the 8th of March, is fully booked. So if you come on a meditation retreat at Padmaloka, you need to book early. But there is the Anapanasati retreat, 3rd to the 15th of May, led by Sona, who's a a mindfulness expert for Mitras and order members. I personally am leading a couple of retreats at Rivendell, yoga weekends, long weekends, from the 21st to 24th of February, booked through Rivendell, and from the 30th of October to the 2nd of November. So they start Friday evening and they finish around midday on the Monday, yeah? So it's a long weekend. Don't just think you finish on the Sunday, you know you finish on the Monday, yeah? So come along to them, we meditate, we do puja, and we do 2 full sessions of yoga a day. And if you need help with your sitting posture, I can talk to you one-to-one, or we can even do stuff in the class. Thank you.